having a wonderful Thursday. Good luck in your golf this week. We'll see how this goes for all of us. I'm interested in some of the things I tried to do, and we'll see if they work. So going to check that out. We have a tiny little main slate. I thought I would do a very quick preview and just say my thoughts. Obviously, the name of the game is getting different. We're talking about slates with 4 games. And you have an interesting situation here where you actually have somewhat spread out pitching ownership for a slate this size. And it's a little bit surprising. So we're going to go through it real quick, and then we'll be live at 6 Eastern to go over the final parts of it. But I'm just going to talk through each game real quick. So you've got Sanchez and Morton in Philly. Sanchez has been unbelievable at home. I like Sanchez quite a lot as a pitching option today. I know he's had a really rough stretch for a while, but I do like him enough in this matchup to take a shot here. And I am going to set him as one of my core pitchers. In terms of the hitting, I actually think playing Philly, it's not like you're getting crazy low ownership, but for a 4-gamer, I think you could take a shot against Morton here with Philly. Somewhat familiar with him, obviously a high upside offense. They're expensive. They're a little bit hard to get to, but I kind of like the idea of getting to some Philly here. So I think you can make a 4-prong case, as Sheets would say, in this type of situation. But personally, I am much more on the side of I really want to play at the moment Sanchez, and I want to play the Philly hitters as a way of differentiating somewhat. If you wanted to make the other case and play Atlanta, I'm totally open to that. It is a small slate, but that is just what I'm thinking at first look. I might even change my mind by the time we come back this afternoon. Bowden France is off the near no-hitter. Cutter Crawford. This is another game where I'd be more interested in the bats than the hitting. I'm sorry, than the pitching. I personally think that you could make, again, pretty much everything's a 4-prong case. I don't think there's any need to stack tonight. But specifically against Francis and Crawford, I do like Vlad tonight. Depending on where the order goes, whether you have Barger batting 5th again, occasionally, they might bring up Wagner up earlier in the order, which we've seen before. So kind of curious how it shakes out, but it is a spot that I think I'm more interested in the bats than I am the pitching. And if I had to look at first, I would probably I was thinking okay, 2 Dodgers, 2 players from this game, and maybe 4 from Philly. That's sort of where I'm leaning at the moment. But I don't want to fully just stack the major stacks. And I think one way you can get different on these slates is leaving money on the table. I think another way you can get different on these slates is to basically just go away from the normal stacking thing. So both Vlad and Devers, along with Duran, are all really, really good one-offs in my opinion. You throw Cassis into the mix. I think it's a really, really good spot to try and attack the hitting, but we want to save on pitching, in my opinion. So I'm using Sanchez. That's what I'm going to be doing tonight. I'm open to anything else. I will post my picks, my plays earlier, a little later. Hunter Brown and Brady Singer here. Brown is chalk, and I understand why. I totally get it. I'm somewhat interested in the idea of playing some Singer, and I'm somewhat interested in the idea of playing some Houston, but I think I'm leaning, again, I like the Boston game a little bit better. I like the Philly side of things in the Atlanta game. I like the Dodgers the most, but I want to, break from a little bit of the chalk. Maybe you could argue for getting some Royals, like playing Pasquantino at first. I don't think you're going to see much ownership there. Melendez is not going to get much ownership because you don't need the savings. Those are 2 plays that stood out to me at first look, and obviously always Jordan Alvarez, even as he will be very popular tonight. Dodgers and Baltimore. I was at the game last night. Wonderful time. Ohtani, the guy is a freaking god. I don't even understand how to explain how good this guy is. Just absolutely out of control. Love Bobby Miller in general. I'm much higher on him. I do think it's interesting that you won't see the ownership on Baltimore you would have seen even on a big slate like a few weeks ago. I feel like you would have seen more Baltimore ownership. So I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do. But specifically, Ryan O'Hearn, Colton Cowser, I think you throw Santander into the mix. Those are 3 bats that stand out to me as somewhat appealing against Bobby Miller. I will probably play some form of Miller, Sanchez, Brown, Sanchez, something like that. But wherever I'm not, I'm going to be using bats against those guys pretty much across the board. And on the Dodgers side, obviously going to be the most popular team tonight. Hard to argue with it. I love the Dodgers. I would not 5-man stack them. I would literally X out the 5-man Dodger stacks tonight just because of the amount of ownership. So that's just sort of like a first look of what I'm leaning towards. Again, I will set my core plays a little bit later, but you're looking at Devers, Duran, and Shohei and Alvarez on the high end as bats I like. Pretty much all of Philly is on the high end I like. Toronto for value, depending on where Wagner and Barger and those guys hit. Boston's a little bit expensive, but because of it, they're not getting the ownership I believe they should be. So, again, if you can get to them, you just have to find a way to get to them. And again, remember, we're going to see different lineups, so it's really hard to analyze this early in the morning. I think you're going to see a lot of different things on a Thursday getaway day. And I wouldn't be surprised if the lineups come out totally shocking. Maybe Will Smith gets a night off tonight. Austin Barnes is catching, something like that. And I would just encourage people to leave money on the table, to not necessarily fully 5-game stack. I think it's really important to try to vary your strategies on these 4 gamers. That's what I'm going to be doing anyway. So wanted to do just a really quick thing for you guys. Hope everybody has a wonderful day. See you guys live in a few hours, and good luck.